What up, everybody? I hope you've had a good one. I hope you're doing well. And I wanted to do this video about this problem that's still ongoing today, actually. And it's a problem that's happened for almost over a decade at this point. And I want to tell you a story on how I happened to ruin my work ethic. So growing up, I was never a good student. In middle school, I was always just failing. I just wasn't paying attention. I couldn't pay attention, was never good at taking tests. The highest I could ever score on any test or quiz was literally 80%. I could never get higher than that. And I remember it was just the worst feeling ever as you see your classmates just getting these, 90s and hundreds, and they get these A+ report cards, and here you are with C's, B's, and B's are your best ones. And then typically it just has some F's in there as well. And I remember my parents were just absolutely disappointed with me. And I was put in these remedial math classes in school, and it's just nothing ever seemed to get better. Meanwhile, my other family, like my cousins, they were getting these scholarships and they were getting these citizens award and all of that. And here I was just sitting in the gutter, just not successful at all. And I was just thinking, man, I'm a really bad student, which I was. In retrospect, I was a very bad student. But, all of that changed in high school. Oh, because that was in a private school setting. And I guess it was just something about being in a high pressure environment like that. I just didn't do well. But eventually, all of that passed by, and I just got mediocre grades and all of that, finished 8th grade. And when it was time for high school, that was the first time I ever went to a public school. And in this public high school, I actually started to thrive in 9th grade because all of the stuff I'd seen in middle school, I said, hey, it's starting to make sense now. And in that public school environment, everything was just less pressure. It was just more just having fun, and you didn't have to worry about trying to keep up and getting these straight A's and all that. It was kind of just you let go and you just learn, you have fun. You felt more free just talking, to the teachers and with your classmates. And for me, that type of experience was way better for learning. And I remember I was actually doing very well. And in fact, in the first year, 9th grade, I actually got all A's except one B, and that was in geometry. It was a little bit difficult for me, but overall, I did really well in every other subject. And you know what? I didn't even think about it because I was just having that good of a time. And then this is still the best memory I have in high school was in my sophomore year. That's when I really kicked it into high gear. I was taking honors courses in high school, and it's just we were upgrading in math, and I was doing algebra 2 and all that, and it was just everything was starting to click together. And I'm saying, you know what, this is awesome, man. This is finally what it feels like to be one of the smart students, one of the good students. And I remember that was the only year in my entire, I guess you could call it, school career, right? So 1st through 12th grade, that was the only time, was in sophomore year, that I ever got straight A's. And I remember I was so proud of it at the end of the year. You remember how they do these award ceremonies and they give away these certificates saying, oh yeah, so-and-so student got A's, straight A's. I remember I was so proud of that. I had just this straight A, and I was so happy with myself. And unfortunately, all of that changed in junior year for the absolute worst. So once again, just like the other 2 years, we were able to pick our classes. And this time I saw this option that I hadn't seen before in the first 2 years, was a thing called online classes. Now during this time, online classes wasn't as prevalent as it was today in today's climate. And we didn't have Chromebooks either. It was still with paper and pencil, which, by the way, I think is the best way to learn. But anyways, I remember picking online courses such as AP Psychology, AP Art History, and there was probably one more AP in there that I forgot. Oh, it was probably AP English. And I remember, man, this is going to be a great year, just like sophomore year. I'm going to crush it. In the beginning of the year, you start doing these online courses. It seemed pretty easy, right? You got more freedom. You could kind of work at your own pace. It wasn't like a regular class where you sit there, the teacher talks, you take notes, and then you study the material, and then you take a little quiz or something to stay on track. Online classes was a little bit different in the sense that you worked at your own pace. And that was something that during that time I did not realize. It was easy to fall off the tracks. I was distracted so easily, but that wasn't the downfall yet. It was when I started asking my brother, because at this point, we both were together in the same class, in the same online courses too. I remember in the beginning, we would just be reading these massive things on the internet about, art history, how prehistoric art, blah, blah, blah. And we were taking these quizzes. And I remember I was doing okay. But again, like I said, I was being distracted by other things. I wasn't really paying attention to reading. It was really difficult. It was really long. And I just couldn't really pay attention that well. And I remember I would ask my brother, hey, what was the answer for that quiz? Hey, and it just started to be this little thing at first. And then over time, it started to become more comfortable. So I wouldn't be reading the material. I would just ask him, hey, what was this section about? Renaissance era, something. Hey, what was that about? And eventually it just started to snowball like that. It just got worse and worse. And then that type of attitude didn't just stay in art history, but it moved on to things like psychology, then to English. And before you knew it, it wasn't even halfway through the year yet. Here I am, now I'm basically relying on him to tell me the answers for these quizzes and tests. We would sit next to each other and I would just say, hey man, what are the answers for this? And we would literally he would write it down and then just pass it over to me. And I would just literally just copy the answers down. And then for the essays, I couldn't write it, not because I was bad at it necessarily, but at this point I was just so it was ingrained in my mind that, hey, dude, let go. You don't have to worry about this course. Just ask your brother to do it. And that's exactly what I did. I just asked him, hey, dude, do you mind if you write this essay for me? And you know what? By the way, I want to shout my brother out. He's super cool, and I'm super grateful that he was cool enough to do all of this for me. By no means I'm bashing on him. I'm just saying this was my fault because I'm the one who abused it. But it eventually just got down to that. Now at this point, I'm not even paying attention to the material anymore. It was just, hey, can I just get the answer for this quiz, for this test? Can you write for this essay? And it spilled over to every single class you could think. And it was the same attitude that moved on to all the way to the end of the year. And in fact, it was so bad that I purposefully, but I remember literally the final exam for art history, literally didn't even do it at all. I saw it, the teacher said, go and take this final exam, literally ignored it straight up. My grades got so low, it literally got down to single digits, where I got called into the counselor's office and they said, hey, what's going on in this class? Why is it literally single digits? You're failing in single digits. And I remember it was just the worst thing ever. And then on top of that, I failed all of my AP tests too. I literally got 1s and 2s on the final score, which was just awful. But yeah, skipped out on the art history final exam, got chewed out by my teacher as well. And it was just, junior year was by far the worst year ever in my educational career, the absolute worst. And then in senior year, it did get a little bit better because then I realized at that point, you know what, knock it off with the online courses. I think I ended up taking just 1 or 2, and it was about conflict resolutions or something, and it was a little bit better. I only say a little bit because there were some points where, again, I got lazy, didn't do my work, and then I got a 40 in my class score. Got called to the counselors again, got chewed out, but in the end, it was better, and I did get A's and B's during my senior term. But unfortunately, this isn't where the story ends, because that type of mentality I carried from junior year that pretty much corrupted my entire work ethic now is going to spill over to college as well. And at this point, it was like a drug. You know how you start with a little bit and then you keep your craving grows even more and more? That's pretty much how it was with cheating in school. So I ended up going to community college for 2 years, and again, it literally the cycle just got even worse, because now community college, it wasn't like high school where you had to go up to the building. It literally was all on campus. It was all digital. And I remember it was, again, taking accounting 1. It started the same way. It started off strong. Oh yeah, this is the concept, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually it fell right back like old times again in junior year. Hey, dude, do you mind helping me? Because my brother and I, we were doing the same degree. And it fell right back into the same old habits. Hey, what was the answer for that? Hey, do you mind? And at this point, it was literally upgrading to where he was literally doing the tests and quizzes for me. and it was just one after another. And this was obviously not a good thing to do, especially in college, because it's not like high school where it's required that you graduate. I mean, literally, you could fail this and who cares? It's not the college's problem. It's your fault that you didn't put the work in. And now here I was, quote, ascending through the ranks in accounting, thinking, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. But in reality, I didn't even know anything. It was just hollow in the inside because I wasn't even doing 1% of the work. And then I remember we were finally finished with the first term of community college. We were done with accounting part 1, so hooray for that, right? And we eventually moved to accounting part 2, and I remember it was, again, what do you think happened? Same thing, started cheating immediately. And then I remember that March spring break, it was the greatest thing ever. Finally, we were done with that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And then that spring break got extended and extended into what now we know was the COVID pandemic, and we all stayed at home. So all students went home, but school still continued. So what do you think happened? That's right, the cheating intensified after that. That was like the height of cheating. I mean, it was just constant. I mean, my brother, again, he's super cool. He just continued to do all the tests, all the quizzes, and all the essays, all of it. And this was before ChatGPT, by the way, so which I'm super grateful to him, hooking me up and just helping out. But in the end, all of that cheating, and I got the diploma for community college, but I mean, was it worth it? I didn't really learn anything. In fact, if you asked me to do something accounting or math or something, I wouldn't know what to tell you because I didn't put in the work. And this also carried into university as well, where we decided that accounting wasn't for us and we dropped it in favor of IT, which I picked because I thought it sounded cool. And you get to work with computers, and long story short, you probably already know where the story is going. He ended up doing the entire degree for me. So at this point, now I have a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity, and I don't even know a lick of cybersecurity. So at this point, let's see. So when junior year happened, that was in 2017, and now it's almost 2026. So this is almost, it's about 9 years now of this, and I could confidently tell you that this type of mentality absolutely destroyed my work ethic completely, because now I'm struggling, and rightfully so. I deserve it, right? I deserve not getting any opportunity to find any IT job and can't find any online job, because guess what? That was my fault, because I wasn't the one who was willing to put the work in, and I was willing to take the easy way out, and now I'm struggling to find a job. Even still to this day, I haven't even landed an IT job yet, and guess what? I'm not salty about it, because like I said, it was not 100% my fault. It's 1,000,000% my fault for cheating, taking the easy way out, trying to get other people to do the work for me, and now I'm paying the ultimate price for it. And so if you're watching this video and you sometimes feel, oh man, I don't want to study for that. Oh man, I should just start cheating, looking up the Quizlet and stuff. Is it okay to cheat sometimes? Absolutely, because we're humans. We're not going to be perfect always. We're not robots. We're not going to get it right all the time. But I'm saying, don't ever rely on other people to do the work for you. Absolutely. Never, ever do that, because it will absolutely destroy the way your mind thinks. And even today, I'm still struggling to get back on this, to get working back on track in my mind. Because in my mind, I'm still thinking, it's 2020, it's party time, let's just play video games, eat junk food, and not do anything else. I don't care about my responsibilities, and that could spill into other things like not cleaning your room, not doing the laundry, mowing the grass, stuff like that. It spills deeper than just your education. And that's the thing I'm trying to warn you guys is, don't ever become reliant on other people to do the work for you. If you have to do it and you don't want to, just grit your teeth and work through the pain, because I can assure you it's not worth it down the road when your mind is so comfortable with the idea of play, but it literally, the concept of work is literally non-existent. And it's a very, very deep hole to dig yourself out of. And it's still something to this day I'm still struggling to wrap my mind around again. And I could only hope that one day I find the same work ethic I had about 10 years ago, back in freshman and sophomore year. So guys, I hope you take away from this video, don't cheat too much and don't get comfortable relying on other people doing the work for you. Always try your best to use your own ability to learn. And now with all of this AI stuff, I hope that it's easier to learn, and so that you don't have to resort to the same practices I had to do, so that you don't ruin your work ethic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.